Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lot Pod, the Leeds Rhinos Lot 17A podcast, kindly sponsored by ACD&B, who are, of course, a branding and creative design agency based in Farsley, Leeds. They do create standout brands. So if any companies out there need a brand new logo or a brand refresh, just get in touch with our friends ACD&B. Thanks as always to them for sponsoring us on the podcast. And also with the fanzine. Speaking of the fanzine, the next issue of the Lot 17A fanzine is currently in production and contributions are still open. We do have a deadline coming up sometime in December. It hasn't been written in stone yet. So if you are considering contributing to the next issue of the fanzine, you can. We're looking for articles and artwork. People have said, but what do you want articles on? Anything Leeds Rhinos, a player, a current player, an older player, a coach, kits, your favourite game, your favourite stadium. Do you like the new Headingley versus old Headingley? Anything, absolutely anything Leeds Rhinos themed, we're looking for. So if you are interested, just send an email over to lot17a at outlook.com. Lot17a at outlook.com. And again, that deadline is December. We've already had some fantastic articles submitted, but we do want some more. So this is the mailbag. We are back. We've opened the mailbag and we're back with it again. Joining me as always, my right-hand man, my co-host, but our amazing stats man, Statman Reese.
I'm a stat.
Freeze.
Let's cut to the chase, Reese. Are the Jags winning?
Yes, but they should be winning. They should be winning by more, but they're not. But they're winning going into the half. So
because as we record this, Reese's second favourite team.
I don't know.
They have to be above United.
That's probably a mailbag question because then Rhinos would be one, but then
that's my mailbag question to
United.
You. Where do the Jags go?
They're probably third because Leeds United have been there, so probably
so frustrating.
Probably. Oh, but then are we talking nationals in there? Because then,
this really was a mailbag question.
It was. Yeah, in terms of club sides, I think Jacksonville will be third.
But they are winning, everyone. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good. It's have you got Christmassy yet?
No, we did go.
Is there a tree up in your house?
No chance. We did go to Brighouse yesterday because they had a little Christmas tree light up market thing. It's been on yesterday and today, and that felt very festive and Christmassy.
Yeah.
But me and Harriet are very much 1st of December. You know, it's all systems go. So we always buy a real tree, so we're already prepared for the real tree on Friday, and from that moment on, bring it on. But until that period, are you a late November, or are you 1st of December?
We are a late November, yeah. So that we may already have a tree up.
You've already got your tree up.
Yeah, I think after the wedding and a honeymoon, Nessa wanted something to look forward to.
Yeah, he needed something.
So needed something.
But, everything being finished.
Yeah, but we went to the Skipton Santa fun run today, which was quite good fun. Didn't run. I had food and drank. I had a beer.
Yeah, and watched
and watched people dressed as Santa do the run. So now.
So this is our mailbag podcast. If you are new, welcome along. This is just any other business podcast where we ask our viewers, our listeners to get in touch with us with their thoughts, their questions, their queries. It doesn't have to be rugby league related. It doesn't have to be Leeds Rhinos related. All these people got in touch with us over the past month or so because we are in our off season. We are predominantly, if you are new, a Leeds Rhinos podcast. If you want to get in touch with us for the next mailbag, you can. Get in touch with us on X at Lot17A or at the Owl and Fleece, or you can email us at lot17a at outlook.com. We grab all them, bundle them up, and spew them out on the mailbag. And this is the mailbag. Do you want to start my
just to add to that, we also accept questions on Twitter as well. from that bit. But I am
You
going.
might as well be saying we accept them in facts then, because Twitter doesn't exist.
It does. It's not called.
Page them over, everyone. Hit our pages.
Yeah, I want to go first because I feel like the first question is not really a question; it's a comment, and it's very much directed at you, Eddie. And I don't
think so?
I don't think this person is a Leeds Rhinos fan, but we'll have to wait and see.
I don't think they are.
This question comes from Freddie, or comment rather, and basically says, "Don't you look like a right twat now that your beloved Maguire has signed for Cass?"
That is. I don't. Well, the biggest takeaway I got from that is he spelt Maguire wrong. I don't know if you noticed that.
He has spelt Maguire wrong.
He did spell, they did spell Maguire wrong. So you're gonna have to get that right, Freddie. I'm not gutted. I'm only gutted in the sense that he didn't come to us, but I feel like we're the next in line. I feel like he's not prepared to join us yet. That door's open. Would you agree with that, Reese? That is always open.
It's always open, isn't it? And I think we said on the last one that he didn't want the head coach job. Maybe he feels like he's not ready. But he's, did he watch the video of him mic'd up during pre-season training?
I didn't know. Didn't know that existed.
Just seeing him coach and stuff. There's definitely a good coach in there. So I'd be really interested to see that he's definitely got another step in him. I think he's definitely got a head coach role in him in the future. Where that is, we'll have to wait and see.
Said before, Freddie, I wish him all the best. And I said, I think it was in the last podcast that we did, Cass will be miles better this year because of Danny. And I wish him every success at Castleford. The next question's from Michael. Michael says, Harry Newman to the NRL. Thoughts, gents? How do you think he would go over in the NRL? Reese, do you think if he were to move over there, do you think he'd come back with his tail between his legs, or do you think he'd rip it up over there?
It's obviously, I think it's something he wants. And I think it's something that we've always said, if there was going to be anyone in the Rhinos squad that would go down under in the NRL and is capable, it's Harry Newman. Now, not necessarily the Harry Newman we saw at moments in last season, but the performance we saw in the England-Tonga series was much more like the Harry Newman that we know. And he's going to contract you. It's down to him now. Leeds will put an offer on the table. They'll put the best one they think. But if he plays really well this season, the world's his oyster.
And I think he has to play well this year. I know that sounds absolutely stupid to say, but he must. He's in his last year with the Rhinos. And if he does, I agree with Reese and probably everyone else listening to this, he clearly does want to give the NRL a go. But he's going to have this year to show the NRL what he can get.
If he has the best season of his career next year as part of our treble-winning side and it goes down to the NRL,
precisely,
then I'll quite happily go, you know what, Harry, you showed up for us. Go rip it up down there. And when you're done with that, come back to us.
And I always wish every English, British Super League player that goes down to the NRL, I always want them to do well. I want Morgan Smithies to do well. I want Will Price. I want Kai Pearce-Paul, all those newbies that have gone over for 2024. I want every single one of them to absolutely kill it out in Australia because it kind of looks good on our game over here and kind of proves that we are perhaps as Tim Potter's the NRL. But in terms of Harry, I'd love him to go out there and give it a go. I would, because that would mean surely that he's won the treble with us this year. So he'd go with our best wishes.
Exactly. Next question is from Tommy. We touched a bit on this on the last pod, but it was now that the initial IMG scores are out in the open, what did you make of them all?
Said on the last pod, thought ours was a disgrace, but that will grow to at least 19. Go by at least 2 points. What was it? 19.46. It'll go up by at least 2 points when the real scores come out. Because I know these were kind of just to get the ball rolling. And then again, kind of repeating myself from the last pod, the one I really disagreed with was the Leigh score. Because they were the cup winners and made the playoffs in their first year. And I don't understand how their score could be so low. What did you make of them?
Well, as I said, we will now be singing. What did I say? We're top of the IMG table. You'll never
You'll
sing that.
never sing that.
Yeah, that's the new song on the South Stand. Get rid of the band. We'll just sing that. But yeah, I think the ones that I thought to lose potentially were a bit high, and I felt that are they just high because that's who Super League want in there? I felt it's a real shock to see London as far down as they are
I
in
know, yeah.
24th, I think I said,
Yeah.
and
Just
that
killed them off this year already.
it just showed. Yeah, it was like almost like what's the point in them
Yeah.
this year? They've got rid of their academy, and I know, but I don't think the academy is influenced by it either. But I think you're right. The biggest one that should have been higher, I think, is Lee. I know obviously they've got when you look at average positions, they've got the championship in the previous years, but the Challenge Cup winners and they were playoff finalists. So I certainly think they could have been higher. But also Salford's score I find strange, considering their financial situation at the moment, to the extent that the RFL have had to step in. They might not have facilities. Apparently they're sorted it out now, but it's very strange, I think. But I think it's a good. I think in all it was a fair reflection of the league, other than a couple of anomalies.
It's the first round of scoring, quote unquote. So things can change drastically, and I think they will. And the next question is from Amanda on a similar theme. And Amanda says, "Will IMG change the game for the better or worse? Love the podcast, and I'm glad it's back." Thanks, Amanda. Reese, do you think IMG will change the game for the better or the worst? I know they don't even have a hand on the game yet, but yet we're all
no, they don't. But
clausing.
You're already starting to see little glimpses of what clubs should be doing in terms of what IMG are starting to choose. And I think the best example of that is Wakefield. They've upgraded the new stand. They're going to have more season ticket holders than they did last year. And they've been relegated. But that the owner there, I have to admit, I have to take my hat off to him because the clarity that he's given, but he's using the IMG structure, the point system, the grading system to help move the club forward. You've seen Sheffield looking at getting a new stadium.
Looks amazing, that complex.
And that's the sort of stuff that this is starting to drive. Cass are still obviously looking at their new stadium as well. York are starting to put money where their mouth is to push things forward as well from there. So I think you're starting to see what IMG can do for the game when the clubs get on board with it. The clubs that don't get on board with it will ultimately fail.
They will.
Go
ahead, sorry.
No, that was it. That was it.
They will, because I think IMG are here and they're here to stay, and they're going to mould and change the game. I do think, Amanda, that they'll change it for the better. Why? Because it can't get any worse.
Fair enough. Next question's from Paul. Eddie, you definitely knew about Leeds signing Croft for $300,000. You mentioned it too many times on the podcast. Before you answer this, I am actually quite annoyed that you kept saying this all last season and we ended up signing him, because you were right, and you're now probably going to brag about the fact that you were right.
I just think, to be fair, I said it loads, but Duncan, whenever he joined us as well, I always said to Duncan, it's so easy, Duncan. If he's available, we should just go and buy him. And I didn't know anything at all. I promise you, I didn't know anything. It just seemed to be the logical move. If Brodie Croft was available, go and buy him and pay the money to bring him in. And now, thankfully, that's come to fruition, and we're all absolutely clicking his heels together and can't wait for February already. But at the time when we were down and getting battered by Catalan, getting nilled by Wigan and nilled back to back by Catalan, it was more desperation, Paul. The fact that me saying numerous times, go and effing buy Brodie Croft, no matter, just open the checkbook, Gary, and bring him in. And thankfully, he signed for us and not Lee.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was stupid, wasn't it? But yeah, I mean, it was $300,000 for both Croft and Ackers.
Which is it? I mean, I know we haven't kicked a ball yet or thrown a ball, whatever the rugby league term is, but that's the steal of the century. That
you'd
have paid, like we've said, I think we said 5 or 6 times already. Every podcast since we've signed Brodie. You'd have paid 400 grand for Brodie Croft last year.
Yeah, especially coming off the Man of Steel season.
Yeah, and how we finished the year. Every single Leeds fan listening to this would say, yeah, you'd probably pay $500,000.
Yeah.
You probably would have paid 500 grand if Leeds fans would. It's easy for us to spend that money, but to say, would you back the club? Yeah, alone. So to get both of them, I think, yeah, hats off to the club again, because absolutely immense.
Yeah, no, definitely. It kind of leads a nice into the next question by Macaulay, who said, who do you think will get the number 9 shirt? Obviously, we now know the numbers since this question was submitted, and Akers did get that. We spent all of last year telling everyone that our mate O'Connor will have the number 9 shirt. Do you think it was right for Akers to get that?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
he had to get it. He is an
that's
English...
not discrediting Jared either, is it?
No, we love Jared, friend of the pod. But it had to be Akers. But how old's Akers? 29?
Yeah, 28, 29, I think.
28, 29. So could be at Leeds 3-4 years, maybe 5 at a push. And again, it's almost that. I think it was Josh who's been on, one of our regulars, who's been on a few times. He, particularly in that transfer special from memory, forgive me if I'm wrong, Josh, but I think he said an experienced 9 would help bring, Jared on. And I think Josh were kind of saying we were sort of overlooking the key aspect of a good 9. We've got one now.
Yeah.
And it's a luxury, because nobody felt it were required.
If we didn't have Akers, I'd be quite happy sat here saying Jared's the number 9, and I'm quite happy.
Precisely. Nail on head. Yeah.
When it comes back to reviewing those signings, it just shows again that I think the club have done an excellent job and gone beyond what I actually thought was necessary.
Agreed. Liam Harmon is harking back to England-Tonga. I have really enjoyed the England v Tonga series, says Liam. It's been refreshing to see England play so soon after the World Cup, and even better to see Tonga tour for the first time. What did you make of the series and of Wayne's England side, Reese?
I didn't catch a series because I was away on my honeymoon, so I can't really offer too much opinion on it. Really pleased to see Tonga over here doing it, but I think England missed out not being in that Pacific Nations Cup. They need to be part. I know we talked about this on the last pod. My simple response is we need to be part of that tournament year in, year out.
Simple as that. We have to go out there and play them.
Yeah.
Or they come here, but it's more likely that England, even if England have to fly out there every year, just continually keep playing the best sides we can. And unfortunately for us, they're all at the other side of the world. In terms of Sean Wayne's England, worst England side, I said running up to the World Cup when we reviewed all those World Cup games, England games. Just appalling for me. I can't get behind this kind of England setup. There's a lot of good players there. It was nice to see Michael Lewis, obviously Harry and Harry Smith, but I just think I can't get behind Sean Wayne. Maybe it's just me, but I can't get behind it.
With the England sides, though, I mean, what I liked seeing about Mikey Lewis was actually the passion to play for England. Obviously, he got that.
I loved his interview after the game,
where we got a bit emotional, and that's the sort of stuff that should be pushing for, if to see how much it meant to him is the example of what they should be doing to move the game forward, because it actually shows that the players do care. Speaking of England game series, though, I don't know if you saw, but the semi-final in 2013 World Cup video was highlights were doing the rounds on Twitter this week, because I think it was 10 years.
10
since Sean Johnson broke our hearts at Wembley.
Skipped past Kev, didn't he? Or was it Danny?
No, it was Kev. He ran out of the line and he got stepped.
Shot out the line. Stepped.
One of the best. I was thinking about that and it made me think that game was, because I remember the crowd being ridiculously loud that game at Wembley, and it was an awesome game of rugby as well. I thought we have the product there, and just need to play regularly to be able to do it, and that's why I'm saying be part of that tournament down under.
Absolutely.
Next question is from Leanne. Reece Martin has now become the Papua New Guinea's most capped player. How do you think he'll be remembered when he does retire? Will he be considered a Rhinos legend? Leanne also said, thanks, excited for the next fanzine.
I think he's certainly. Is he a Rhinos legend? He's a Challenge Cup winner.
I think in the post Golden Generation period, if I was going to pick one of my favourite players, I think Reece would be in the top 3,
Would you
probably along
say?
with Ash Hanley and maybe Mick.
Would you say he's been? I was going to say that. Would you say he's been the best since 2017? I think
Say he's probably been the most consistent.
I think he's the standout by a mile.
Do you think?
Yeah, don't think many come close. Cammy has only really come in last year or so. Kind of,
Well, since we started
been
picking him
given
up.
a chance, yeah. Since yourself created the Appreciation Society. But is he a Rhinos legend? Now, Leanne, that's incredibly difficult to kind of put a pin into because our legends are legitimate, like champion, won it, done it,
7-time
seen it
Super
all.
League.
Yeah, you're talking. So
Challenge
we are
Cups, World Cup
incredibly lucky.
challenges.
You know, when we mention Carl Ablett's name, we are mentioning a bloke that's won it on more than one occasion. So I think it, like Reece said, there is a new era now. We are in a new era of the Rhinos. And when we win the grand final this year, I think then you could say not just Reece, obviously Reece, but the rest of them then would be a legend.
I think to get that legend title, I think he would need a Super League title.
That's just us as a club, though. We've done that, you know.
That's the expectation, isn't it?
That's exactly, yeah. I agree.
Yeah,
absolutely agree. Nathan says, on the transfer update pod, you were all very positive, even for you, Eddie. Was that the most positive pod you've ever done? I really enjoy listening to podcast, listening in from Dan South. Was that the most positive podcast we've ever done, Reece? That Brodie Croft one?
I don't know. I think obviously some of it's been overshadowed by the performances this season. I'm trying to, in the playoff run last year, there was some.
I remember the win at Wigan.
When we beat Wigan, in the semi-final last year.
For anybody watching that podcast on YouTube, that was just me, Reece, and Josh smiling from ear to ear for about an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah. So I think we've had positive pods, but I think we're so positive at the moment. It's like you said, I'm annoyed at them because I'm so excited for the fixture. Like when the fixtures came out on Thursday, I was buzzing. I'm like, right, it feels like it's a bit closer. But at the end of the season, I was nowhere near feeling like that. But because of what they've done in the off season, they have managed to change my mindset.
They've done it to us again.
Yeah, they've done it to us again. So I think we've got every reason to be positive.
Absolutely, especially with the squad we've got now. It was a very positive pod, Nathan. But for me, that it kind of because I'll cover your ears, George, how shit the season was. We had finally had something of enormous positivity to get our teeth into. But the most positive pod for me was the one last year when we beat Wigan to get to the grand final, because that was just on another level.
Next question is from Harry the Chief, who says, which of the current Super League sides do you dislike the most, and which do you have a fondness or a soft spot for?
A fondness or soft spot would be London as an expansionist. You know, I felt the same with Toronto, albeit very briefly, and Toulouse. So probably London. Which side do I dislike the most? Being a Leeds fan, certainly of my age, it might be different for Reece. We'll find out in a minute. But anyone of my age, in the mid-30s, you was just, as you grew up, you just had pure hatred for Wigan. Everyone, anyone older than you, your parents, your uncles, your cousins, your brothers, whoever, anyone close to you that was a Leeds fan and that were older than you, just used to tell you how much you had to hate Wigan and why you hate them and etc. That's changed over recent years. For me now, the team I dislike the most is St Helens.
I would agree. It's St Helens. I mean, and I blame Matty Pete for this purely because he makes me I like Matty Pete. I think he's an amazing job. He's come through the coaching structure at Wigan, and he's one of the few coaches. You know, we've seen the fixture list come out, and Ian Watson's already taken opportunity to start moaning and having a go. Whereas Matty Peake is one of the few coaches, I think, in Super League that when Wigan are beat and they haven't played well, he says we didn't play well. And I think for me, he's not helped that. But yes, the team I hate most is Saints. Definitely.
I think with Saints as well is it's all the cheating that they've done recently. You know,
they won't be able to cheat anymore because the rules have changed. So
precisely, yeah, the Morgan Knowles thing, you know, with the chicken wing. Was it on Andy Ackers, actually? You know, when he should have had been banned, and then everything with that, and then Paul Wellens just comes out and absolutely lambasts the referee and all the discipline after John Asiata's tackle, and they just do what they want. And like Johnny Lomax as well, last one from me, I promised. Johnny Lomax, when he said James McDonald punched him, and he just didn't at all. They were bleeding from a play other side of the field before. They're just awful, and they're almost playing now like the old, like Wigan used to play, like old Wigan sides used to play. And Saints are definitely the bad guys in this story, and Leeds are the heroes coming back to smack them straight in the teeth.
In terms of a team I have a soft spot for, again, probably as an expansionist, it kind of has been Catalan. Less so since Steve McNamara has been there, because I really don't like Steve McNamara. And they're quite a grubby team now, aren't they, Catalan as well? But when Catalan have always got to a final, and it's not been at Leeds' expense, I will also add at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
I've always wanted Catalan to win. So when they got to the Challenge Cup final, when they got to the grand final against Saints, and obviously this year, I was rooting for Catalan because I want them to do well as an expansionist from that sake. So I only have a soft spot for them when it's not at Leeds' expense and it's probably in a final.
Which is why it was so disappointing this grand final when they actually had the worst grand final performance in the history of grand finals.
Like, it really was awful.
We didn't have to do much to win it, but yeah, I agree. Absolutely agree. Georgia says, me and my boyfriend are already struggling with no Leeds Rhinos. Do you have any tips on getting through the off-season for us? You should definitely do a podcast every week just to keep all us Leeds fans entertained. Any tips for getting through the off-season, Reese, following the NFL?
Start a Leeds Rhinos podcast so you could talk about it. No, I don't know. I'm in quite a few WhatsApp groups, and obviously everyone talks on there. But I don't know. I've been playing a lot of Rugby League Live recently, so that's probably keeping me going through the off season. But yeah, a bit like you, Georgia. I am struggling because I just want the season to start. You know, it's, like I said, when the fixtures came out on Thursday, I did two things. Well, one, I got exceptionally giddy, and then the second thing was I booked my flights to Carolina straight away.
That's right.
So yeah, I would love to do a pod every week, but I just don't think there's enough news that comes out.
There just isn't enough out there, Georgia, for us to
just not enough
to talk about for an hour every week.
But I appreciate the sentiment.
We'll do what we can. I don't know. It's tough, and I feel like every off season since we've done this podcast, I think we're in our third year now, fourth year, whatever we're in. It's tough. And we always go over this, how the off season it's a killer. I wouldn't recommend Leeds United. Why don't you and your boyfriend look into booking Catalan away like Reese has? That would be my advice.
Yeah, that's good. Carl said 2 amazing debut seasons in the NRLW for Georgia Roche and Fran Goldthorpe. It was brilliant to see 2 ex-Rhinos perform so well. Obviously, Georgia was in the final, and Fran, was up for awards and was getting some of the highlight reels. We need to actually get Fran back on.
We do
talk about her, because we had her on before she went down under.
We absolutely do. Yes.
Fran, if the off chance you are listening, we need to have a catch up to learn to see how the season went for you.
We need to find out if she managed to get hold of any bourbon biscuits out there.
That's true. That's actually a bigger question. Isn't
that was her biggest concern: bourbon biscuits and Yorkshire tea.
Yeah,
and we did say that we would send her some if she was struggling to find any.
We didn't.
So Georgia Roach won the whole competition with Newcastle Knights. So that's an absolute home run. She's smashed that for 6. And Fran got Rookie of the Year. Was it Rookie of the Year for the whole competition or just the Cowboys?
I think it might have been for the Cowboys. I think. Not
I mean,
for the...
that again, that's no mean feat. And it's we need to see more, very similar, but I think more important than the men's side are the women going over there and playing in this competition. I think there'll be a few more the back end of next year. We've spoken loads about Kira Bennett, thinking
potentially, but now York has started to hand out professional contracts, and I wouldn't be surprised if Leeds followed that.
I hope so.
So it shows that those two have gone down under and have done an amazing job, but our own game is moving forward here as well.
Yes, it's slow steps, but important steps all along the way. But no, it's been amazing to see both those two do well, and we will work and try and speak to Fran to get her back on. Bianca says, I disagree, Eddie. The new home shirt is a thing of beauty. The principal shirt, I don't know, Bianca. I didn't. What did you give it out of 10?
I think I gave it a 7.
Yeah, you were more.
And I've realised that 7 is just a sit on the fence number, so I really should have probably said, I think, a 6.
6. I thought 5 was sit on the fence.
No, 7. I can give you the net promoter score.
Oh, you've done this before, Camille. Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned this on an
did it at work.
Previous awards. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I am really pleased you got a white shirt. I'm glad it's different. My next campaign, as an ode to the shirt that I am wearing this evening, which is the Marie Curie one,
yes,
is for a yellow kit, full yellow kit next year. Because one of my favourite kits, and Laurie actually beat me to this shirt, is the 2018 World Club Challenge, when it was yellow with the blue banding on the middle.
Yeah.
But no, I do like the home kit, but I still think the away kit, or whatever they're calling it, the alternative kit, is still the winner so far.
Oxen Sports have just jotted all that down, by the way.
Yeah.
Yellow shirt with amber blue band across chest.
Yeah.
Martin, I'll say this one. Martin says, what would be your Super League best ever 13? Of all the clubs to have ever played in the competition, not just a Leeds 13. Have you put a 13 together for this question?
No, I haven't.
I've put one together.
Go on then.
So fullbacks, Brent Webb. My two wingers are Ryan Hall and Scott Donald. Centres,
I can see where this is going.
Centres, I'm going with front teeth, Keith Senior, and you may have to help me here. I'm thinking Callum Watkins or Joel Moon. Callum Watkins, you reckon? I did love Joel Moon. I'll go Callum Watkins. Danny and Rob. JP, Kylie at prop. Danny Buderas at hooker. Back row is where you always struggle because we're stacked there. You've got a choice of Ali, Gareth Ellis, JJB, Carl Ablett. How can you? You choose one and I'll choose one. I'll go Carl Ablett.
Ali
Lau, and then obviously Kev at 13. No team, you couldn't create from the Wigans, the Saints, the Bradfords, all those sides that have won grand finals and World Cup Challenge would not beat that side.
If you were going to put a non-Leeds player, if you were going to say your favourite, not favourite, but who you thought was the best player outside who never played for Leeds in the Super League era, because there's one name on the tip of my tongue that who was an amazing player, and that's Jason Robinson.
Yeah, Andy's from Leeds.
Andy's from Leeds.
Andy won a World Cup out.
There must be some players in Super League history that you've gone, I wish they played for Leeds.
There's 3. When I was a kid, I thought Andy Farrell was absolutely awesome. Hard as nails.
Yeah, he's a horrible bastard, wasn't
he? He could kick. He had it all. As much as I hated him, I thought I'd love to see him in a Rhino shirt. Another one is Sam Tompkins when he were at Wigan, when he were lighting it up just before he went to the New Zealand Warriors. I just thought, cover your ears, George. Jesus Christ, this kid is absolutely dynamite. I think he started out at 6, then they put him out to fullback, and he just got better. And I know he absolutely killed us in Challenge Cups and during that period, but what an absolute talent. And his career has proven that. And then the third one is obviously James Roby, the one, probably the best hooker. He's not the best player in Super League ever. He ain't even close, but he's the best hooker in Super League ever. And always held himself with great decorum and class. We beat him loads of times in those grand finals. We beat loads of teams, loads of times, Saints players, loads of times, those grand finals. But he always came out with class. And I think he's 27 million times better than Kieran Cunningham.
I don't think I could add anything else to that. You named 3 players that I think I would have probably said. The only one maybe that, another guy that I like who is class, but he wouldn't get in a Rhino side, is Liam Farrell. I thought, in terms of an exceptional leader and a great player in general.
I just didn't like how in 2015, when Danny scored, he led in with his knees, didn't he?
He did, yeah, he did. Yeah.
So I don't like him just for that. Sorry.
Just for that.
It's just a fact.
Next question is from Bianca, who's saying, "Are you laughing at the issues at Salford?"
How many questions, Bianca? Sorry, go on.
Or crying. It was always going to be our first game of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, just on that, like when people do those, like Paddy Power are very good at this. When they do is the NFL scripted or is the Premier League scripted, and they do like a skit about, right, in week 10 we'll do this or whatever. I genuinely can see that actually happening in the RFL room, going, right, first fixtures, what is the first fixtures we need? Right, let's put Wigan Saints together. Let's repeat the grand final in the first round, because isn't it Wigan Catalan in round 1,
yeah.
I think?
Yeah.
And then go, right, let's choose Leeds Salford, 2 fan bases that suddenly just don't like each other all of a sudden. And that Leeds have taken 2 players from, one guy that left Leeds on a win and just abandoned them, who signed for them. Like, they'd have been sat in the room going, oh.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one. I think the RFL have to do that. I think they have to manufacture these type of scenarios, like the Premier League and the NFL and the NRL. These are leagues where there's billions and billions, pumped into them. They have lots to play with, and their seasons can turn. Like, particularly the Premier League, where there'll be a game midweek, where early in the season, say it's Man City versus Luton, and you look down, and it's in, I don't know, February. All those Man City fans and everyone else, and then the draw, that drama. But whereas in Super League, it has to be more manufactured. So I completely get that, and they have to do that. They have to create these stories.
It's Cass are playing Wigan first round. I thought it was Cameron, but it's not. It's Cass. But yeah, so they've made the Leeds Salford the blockbuster. Am I laughing at Salford? I never want to see a club go under at all. I will laugh at the Salford fans because we signed Brodie Croft and Andy Ackers from them, and they were saying that they would never sign and Brodie wouldn't be happy. So I'll have a laugh and a giggle from that perspective, but I would never laugh at a club for going bust or going under, because I don't want to see that.
I don't think we're in any position to laugh at clubs going bust, particularly in Super League. I know Newcastle have just fallen the wayside. So I'm not laughing at them. Am I crying? I suppose if they did go, it would be an issue, because they are, one of those playoff sides, and they've been flirting around the playoffs and got to a Challenge Cup final and grand final. But it's more, they just need to get a money man, don't they? Everyone needs a money man now, but not just in rugby league, in sport. You need someone to come along with bags of money and say, right, I'm just going to pay for everything. And Salford just need one of those and a bit more of a long-term plan. But I hope they do stick around, because, like Reece says, it's become a newer rivalry that, for Leeds, and the more of that we have, the better.
Yeah, because when we played at their place, I remember, it was quite a tasty game. They weren't happy with some of the refereeing decisions, and it is getting a bit tasty between the two sides. So I want that to stay, because that's what makes it fun.
Exactly. We need that drama, even if it is manufactured. We need it.
Indeed.
Next question's from Yan Man. Eddie, why do you think Magic Weekend at Ellen Road is a good thing? You must be the only person alive that thinks this way. It was quite tongue in cheek, but then part of me thinks IMG want rid of it, which is a fact or almost a fact. So if it is going, you might as well stick it somewhere in the heartlands one last time, and we're better than Ellen Road, the centre of the universe.
So I don't think this is IMG don't think it's needed. I think this is the RFL who wanted to keep Magic Weekend have insisted it's staying in the calendar this season. But they've panicked. They've not been able to find anywhere because it's cost. They were talking, weren't they, last year about of this season. The reason why it works at the moment is because it's the end of the football season, so it doesn't matter to Newcastle if you have 6 games of rugby on it. But in the beginning of August, it's 2 free routes at the beginning of the season. Clearly, Leeds don't think they're going to be in the Premier League because they're letting us play 6 games on it. But
we won't be in the Premier League.
This is the RFL trying to rescue it, and I've to be honest, I think they failed miserably. And the only reason why I say that is that I like to go to a new ground. I like to go to a new city. I think Newcastle's excellent for it, and Ellen Road is just. It's just not a very nice place to sit.
It's an absolute dump. That's why
it's horrible. It's got the peacock outside, and if they do, they can still make a success out of it. And my idea would be to turn one of the car parks into a big fan zone at Ellen Road. If you're going to do it there, give people a reason to stick around the ground and create a big fan zone. Get corporate sponsorships to do events and games and giveaways, have bars and food there, and do the same at Millennium Square in town, and then run a shuttle bus and run a shuttle bus between the two.
Yeah.
Get the Magic Weekend on the big screen at Millennium Square and run those 2 places. So that's what I would do to make the most of it. But yeah, I think this will be the last Magic Weekend, which will be a shame. But at least we don't have to travel far. And 2, have you seen the games on the Sunday? Yeah. They've literally put all the blockbuster games on the Saturday. Actually, that's Saints Wigan, isn't it? And then it's Leeds, the Leeds game in the evening. So they've put all the best games in one day.
On the plus side, it makes it much easier for a massive lot pod meetup.
It does. It makes it much
really
easier
easy for us all to just meet up somewhere and have another massive lot pod meetup in Leeds, which we could do every week at Headingley.
Yeah, we could do, but we just don't do.
But we won't.
Next question is from Leo. We meet up every week. We just meet up in the car park at the Taps.
That's true. Yeah.
Next question from Leo has said, when will Reece make his stats for last season available?
It's a good question, Leo, because he did say
I'd get it done.
Available.
I'm going to just lay the excuses out. I've just been at risk of redundancy. I'm not anymore. I'm fine. So I've had other priorities. However, I'm just in the last stages of doing sanity checks to make sure it's correct. Because knowing my luck, I'll put it out there and I'll have someone from Wakefield or Cass saying, "Oh, this is not right." So I'm just checking everything's right as well before it's released. So it will be coming soon.
There you go, Leo. There's your answer. I can't wait to see it.
Spreadsheet heaven.
Lucas says, you did the Lot Pod Awards, aka the Leeds Rhinos Awards. What about the rest of Super League? Who was your Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, and Rookie of the Year? Reece, Player of the Year?
I have thought about this, and I thought the easy answer probably would just be Bevan French.
Yeah.
Who I thought when he moved into the halves was, I think that actually helped propel Wigan's season forward.
He did. Certainly got onto the league leaders. Yeah.
But I'd like to have an honourable mention for Lachlan Lamb there as well, because I thought he had a really good year at Lee as well. So, but I think Bevan French is the right answer, because I think that move and his skill did move Wigan towards the league leaders.
Player of the Year for me is really, really easy. Cam Smith, that would be my Player of the Year. God knows how he's not getting picked for England. But Coach of the Year, Reece?
To be honest, I'm going to stick with the Lamb family. And I can't remember his name. What's his first name? Adrian Lamb, thank you. Yeah, I'd give him coach of the year. First year back in Super League, probably the best ever season by a promoted side. Won the Challenge Cup and got in the playoffs.
I agree with that one. Adrian Lamb, that cup win. It's a once in a lifetime, fairy tale memory for a lot of people over in Lee or any Lee fan. So definitely Adrian Lamb. And lastly, Reese, rookie of the year, youngster of the year.
I'm trying to think who's young or who's like.
Who's not old?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of non-Leeds players that were young and did well.
It can be a Leeds player.
To be honest, I don't really know. Have you got an idea? Non-Leeds.
Oh no.
Thought that'd be the case.
Jared O'Connor. That's what I was going to say. Reese is now frantically Googling youngster.
Yeah. I think the only name that's jumping out to me that's non-Leeds is Matty Nicholson. But I can't remember him having an exceptional. I can't remember him having an exceptional year.
Jared O'Connor.
Yeah, just Jared or James McDonnell. There we go. Done.
There you go. On to the Twitter questions. Did you say you had them?
Yep, I do. So
I don't have any of those. Over to you.
Okay, so we've got the usual 3 questions. And because you did this at the beginning of November and at the end of November, both Bri and Laurie have done 3 questions twice. So
are they the same or different?
No, they're different.
Wow, 6.
So we're going to do Laurie's 6 questions. First one is, what is the worst Christmas present you've ever received?
Back, I must have been about 4 or 5, and someone bought me a Notts Forest shirt. I think it was the Clough connection. That's my surname. So I think Brian Clough was a manager. I'm a Clough. So I think it was like, he's a Forest fan. I just remember opening it as being a kid and being like, why does someone bought me a Forest shirt? And I think it was one of my granddad's work friends or something, but that was definitely the worst because that just went straight in the bin. Sorry to... You're probably dead, but sorry, but that went straight in the bin, mate.
Lynx Africa is probably my answer.
That's one of the best.
No, I've for some reason I still get it, and I'm like, I don't understand how I'm still getting that. Anyway, next one is, what's the best film you've watched this year?
Does it have to be from 2023?
No, I think it's just the best film that you've watched this year.
Went to see Trolls 3 the other week with the kids. That were good, particularly when they started singing NSYNC. I really, really enjoyed that. Other films I've seen this year, not that many, to be honest. So I'm going to have to go with Trolls 3.
I'm probably going to go for All Quiet on the Western Front.
I haven't seen that.
For me, that was an interesting one. And then next thing, what are you most looking forward to in 2024?
The grand final. I just wish it was at a different venue, because that venue, it's done, as I've said 1,000 times. I won't go into it anymore, but it needs to move away from there. But I am still looking forward to that grand final greatly. Yourself?
At the moment, it's Catalan away. I'm really looking forward to going to Catalan away.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I booked it with my dad, my uncle, my cousin. I've got a city centre apartment. I'm just really looking forward to going. I've always wanted to do it. I've never done it. It's also in May, so it's going to be French spring, warm, potentially too hot. But I'm really looking forward to Catalan away, that trip.
That will be fun. I'm very jealous.
Laurie's 4th question is, what's the worst crisp ever?
Ready salted.
Yeah.
Any kind of ready salted is so boring. Harriet loves them. Any kind of ready, it's always the worst. You buy like a multi-pack, it's always the last ones. No one wants them. Just keep them in the cupboard. They are disgusting. And for some reason, like when you go out for a sarnie, it's always ready salted crisp that they put with your sandwich. I don't know why.
Yeah, they do.
They're awful.
The one it's actually one I actually didn't really liking, but I had in America dill and pickle flavored crisps. And
Wow.
it were good.
I love
Actually, I've
pickles.
actually seen them in the UK as well. So,
I love pickles. Yeah, that sounds
oh,
like
they had deep fried pickles in America as well. They were really, sorry, going off topic again, but they were really good.
Here's the mailbag. We're allowed to.
Like a shallow batter, but yeah. Laurie's fifth question is, what is your ideal evening, other obviously than talking to me in this podcast?
I like putting the kids to bed, coming downstairs, and eating a bowl of cereal. Just quietly eating a bowl of cereal. Now, I mentioned cereal, and I don't think I've ever said this before on the podcast, but I mix two cereals together.
Which
Ever done
two?
that, Reese? Any?
But hang on a minute. This could be controversial depending on the two you're mixing together. Because you put
So
like
currently,
Cocoa Pops with something, then it's like that's like
Cocoa
proper
Pops
cross
and
contamination.
cornflakes, you're on a home run. They are delicious. But my current favourite is Crunchy Nut with Honey Loops. Oh,
I could
they
put that.
are. They are. Honestly, folks, if you don't do it, start mixing your cereal. It is. And I just love that time in an evening when I've finished work, I've come home, I've seen the kids, played with them, washed them, bathed them, bed, and I can just sit there chilling out with a nice bowl of cereal. I don't drink, so that's that's exciting.
You've not
as it
mentioned your
gets for
wife,
me.
though, Eddie. The one thing you haven't mentioned is your wife.
I don't know where Harry is when I'm eating that cereal. What do I care?
Probably my ideal evening is not too dissimilar to what I've done today, which is just get the fire on at home, the log burner, and have a Sunday roast and just sit and watch crap TV with Ness. That's just quite simple.
It's just how old we are. But I think this time of year, that's what it calls for, doesn't it? Staying in.
Yeah, it's
Films,
quarter to 4.
crap
It's
telly.
dark. It's depressing. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to love it. When I did drink, I used to love like mulled ginger wine, just sitting there and delicious.
And Laurie's last question is Sooty or Sweep?
I can't remember who's who.
I'm just frantically Googling that, actually.
Which one was the one?
Sooty was the yellow bear, and Sweep would appear to be the grey dog.
Did one of them used to whack the other one? And I can't quite remember. I'm going to say Sweep.
I'm going to say Sweep. I was going to say Sweep as well. So let's go with Sweep.
We'll go with Sweep.
We'll move away from the 6 questions and we'll come on to one from Patrick, who said, and this was November 23rd, which was, I'm hoping that today's announcement about cleaning up the ruck will more suit the style of what Rowan Smith wants us to play.
Yeah.
It'll speed things up, but it also brings us more in line with the Australian game, which could benefit the national team. What did you make of the changes, Eddie?
Well, we finally got the change to the first tackle on the 6 again. So it will now be a penalty, which is what everyone's been
in your own 40, isn't it? In your own 40.
in your own 40, sorry, which is what everyone's been clamouring for since 3 years, 2-3 years. So finally, they've seen sense there, and cleaning up of the ruck, it drove Rowan nuts last year. It drove him.
Do you think that's been influenced by him?
I think there was another coach as well.
Probably Ian Watson, because he likes to moan.
I can't remember. I think it might have been Paul Rout. Anyway, there was Rowan. There was 2 coaches who you heard a lot of on Sky or BBC or wherever, and they used to always speak about the ruck. And I think them consistently highlighting it has kept it in the spotlight for the RFL. But I'm really glad the 6 again, penalty on the first tackle in your own 40 is here. The play of the ball thing has been. This isn't the first time.
30 years that's been trying to sort that out, haven't they?
And it isn't the first time they've said, right, we're going to clean it up. And everyone knows what's going to happen here. For the first 3, 4, 5
First
weeks,
3 games, there's going to be about 5 penalties.
3, 4, 5 weeks, they'll go really hard on it. And then after that, it'll be back to the same. And everyone listening to this is going to be nodding along to those words because we all know for a fact it's going to happen again.
Yeah. I think the 6 again rule was needed, but I still liked the rule in that you reset the tackle count, but frustrated when it was on the first tackle. So I think they've resolved that by putting it in the area of the pitch that they've done, because that's when it always happens.
Because all they ever did was hold on.
Yeah,
to, take the penalty so they can get the line set again.
yeah. But the actual rule now is that obviously if it's within our own 40, you kick 20, 30 meters down to get a better
You're
field
gonna get
position.
some.
But or if you're in their half, the is an advantage because the tackle will count or reset.
Up there, yeah.
So no, I think it's a good thing, and I do think Rowan's definitely had some influence on
Yeah,
that
I agree.
change because he didn't shut up about it last year, did he? Next questions. Phil asks, have you ever seen the same pigeon twice?
I don't think I have. Have you ever seen a baby pigeon?
No.
These are the questions.
No. I mean, Nessa's convinced we have the same pigeon coming back to us every day when we feed it, but I'm not sure it is.
How does she know? It's got a
I
distinctive
don't know.
mohawk.
No idea. I just nod and agree. One of my dad's top tips about happy marriage. Richard's next question, I'm going to fire through some of these. Is our pack good enough?
I think so, as it is. I think so. But others would say we are a prop short. But like we said on the last pod, it's going to have to be someone of like Ryan Sutton's ilk.
Yeah. I think that's the only thing we're short of in that an elite prop, not just a prop for a prop.
International
An elite
starting.
prop is what we're short of. But I think we're good enough. I think we've still got a good pack anyway. Adam Reese has said, do you put water on your toothbrush first or put the toothbrush and then or put the toothpaste on, then water, or put no water on at all?
Toothbrush, water, toothpaste,
water.
and then I have to wet my hand. I have to run my hand under the tap so my hand's wet, and then I brush my teeth.
Are you putting your whole wrist in your mouth for some reason?
I don't know. Ever since I was a kid, I have to wet my hand. It's like an OCD thing. Like, if I don't wet my hand, the world will explode. I've just always done it. I've just
one of
always
the superstitions that Eddie has.
So much so that when I first met Harriet, and we were out with like one of my friends, and the topic came up of like OCD, and my friend was like, "Oh, do you know he has to wet his hand when he brushes his teeth?" I'm like, "Why are you telling me this? It's weird."
You've just told the podcast that. So, next one's from Rhino's Roundup, and this one's to me, which was Reese. Which would you rather wear on your stag do? A Saints, Wigan, or a Cash shirt? All three are better than what I did have to wear, which was the only game in the village from Little Britain. I think I'd have had to wear.
I don't think they are. I think I'd rather wear that costume than a Cash shirt.
I think it'd probably been Wigan. I think because of the three. And then let me find Bry's questions. So Bry's first one is: what is your Christmas food guilty pleasure?
I think Brian said something that you only eat at Christmas. You won't eat any.
Yeah, food only brought out at Christmas.
At Christmas. For some reason, we always buy like the world's biggest tub of peanuts at Christmas. I don't know why. It's like a massive KP barrel, and it just I don't know why. It's just a Christmas. It's got a Christmas theme. You can eat them all year round, but we don't bother apart from Christmas. And I love that big barrel of dry roasted peanuts at Christmas. I don't know why or how that started, but it happens every year in our house. Have you got one, Reese?
Pigs and blankets flavoured crisps.
Oh, crisps?
Yeah,
I have not
pigs
seen
and
them.
Blankets flavoured crisps. You haven't seen them? They're everywhere. Co-op, Tesco, M&S. Honestly, it's basically just sausage and bacon flavoured crisps. Yeah.
You think I shop at M&S?
No, I did. But yeah, no, because it's basically just sausage and bacon flavoured crisps, and it's just great.
The next mailbag, my review of Chipolata crisps.
Bry's next question was: with all the uproar about Ellen Road, where is the worst ground you've watched rugby league? And he has put in brackets, I know yours, Eddie.
Odsel.
Oh,
definitely.
I don't think he was expecting that.
Odsel's worse than Cass. I think everyone knows. Odsel's absolutely. Oh, it was diabolical the first time I went in. God knows when, 20 odd years ago, and it's it's still the same now. I mean, have you been to a worse ground than that?
I think it was just tainted by the experience, but Wakefield, because we got beat that day, and obviously Wakefield hadn't won. You had to walk through the graveyard, which really also just really filled me with even more depressing, just depressedness from that. And I know I'm going to get a load of people saying, "Well, your away stand doesn't have a roof," but it was like 30 degrees and it was far too hot.
You were red
And there's no cover. So probably Wakefield, but I think that is tainted also by the result, is that experience in terms of the ground.
That's true.
And then Bryce's third question, and probably our final question, because I can't find his other ones, is what is your favourite Christmas advert?
I can't stand them, Bri.
I can't.
I can't stand them. They're so phony and they're just not real life, and they have people buying tat. But my favourite one,
I did enjoy the one with the boxer jumping up and down the trampoline. I quite enjoy that just because of a dog jumping up and down on the trampoline.
That's true. What others have there been? I don't know. Maybe the old Toys R Us one as a kid. There's a magical place. We're on our way there. No, it's lost on Reese. There's people at age 35 and above singing along to that. I don't know, Bri. I kind of get the sentiment of them, but I think they're just OTT, and I don't think they read the room either, to be honest. I don't want to start giving social commentary on Christmas adverts on this podcast. But yeah, I'll say the dog one with Reese that jumped on the Bells Castle. Is that the mailbag?
That is the mailbag.
Thank you, everyone, for getting in touch. We're not sure when we're going to be back. We are working on some specials with some special guests, and we'll work and try to speak to Fran to get her on. We can always open the mailbag, or if any groundbreaking or we get a big enough chunk of news to talk about, we'll jump back on as well. Thanks, everyone, for watching on our YouTube channel. We do live stream all of our podcasts, on our YouTube channel. If you just search the Lot Pod, that's us. Please hit that subscribe button. I think we're on to about 300 subscribers now, which is good for us because predominantly all of our listeners are on Spotify and iTunes.
It is good for us, but I've got 1,000 followers on Twitter. You've got 2,000 as well, so we can definitely get more.
Yes, so please subscribe to us on YouTube. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Take care.